morning, everybody. Oh, welcome to STEM-based youth mentorship entrepreneurs. We are here today. It is morning on your time, but it's afternoon on mine. And so welcome to this most amazing have of mentorship. And we're going to hear from such an awesome panel. We've got a bunch of cool sponsors, including myself. The DeBruce Foundation and SAP are sponsoring and underwriting this, so let's give a good shout out for them. This is an opportunity for you to engage with each other and to really share what you know, what you want to know, and to be yourself. So engage as much as you can. Use the chat, put your name in there, say where you're from right now, put some emojis in there. You can open the chat at the bottom there. And this day is all about you and getting you to a place where you feel confident and comfortable asking any kind of question and going out there in the world and creating your career, even if you don't know quite what that's about. So I welcome all of you to be here. And here's one way for you to check in with us. If you had one word to describe 2021, what would it be? Put it in the chat. Seattle's in the house. Yes, morning. Arizona's in the house. Hopeful, new, opportunity, promising, bright, exciting, new day. Yes, I love that. Oh my gosh, growth and awesomeness. Thank you, Neil. All right, well, we can't wait to get started. This is going to be such a cool session. We're going to have a few opening remarks, then we're going to get started. We're going to have a power talk, a power panel that is unreal. Then we're going to have some sponsor remarks, which really I'm going to throw the sponsor remarks early. And then we're going to do this small group mentoring at your tables. And if you aren't familiar with Remo, it's really easy to move around that format. So when you see us go back to the main screen, which is where you see like the layout as if you're in a conference room, you simply double click on a chair, an open chair, and you can move there at any time. So you want to move around and meet as many people as you can, and it's going to be super fun. Now, I want to bring up really to do some opening remarks, Kim Smith from IBM. She's going to talk about inspiration, preparing your future, and getting motivated every day. Please bring the awesomest Kim Smith from IBM, our board of advisors. Let's bring her up. Come on, Kim. Come on up here. I can't wait to see you. Woo! Yeah!
Hi, Patty. So nice to see everyone and hear from everyone this morning. I am beyond excited. This has been an amazing few days with Women in Cloud. The tens of thousands of people that have been engaged, the hundreds of thousands of impressions that have been left on social media really indicate the importance of these conversations, these connections, and the sense of community that Women in Cloud has created. I'm honored not only to be on the board of advisories as an executive from IBM focused on cloud technologies, but to also have been recognized as one of the 10 most influential women in cloud for 2020. Just an honor to be included with some of the amazing names and incredible powerhouses on that list. And the purpose of my involvement in today's conversation for this panel is to really kind of motivate everyone toward thinking about the conversations that are going to be coming throughout the day. And with that, I thought I'd share some of my perspectives based on my own personal experiences. And as I'm sharing that, I'd like you to think about your own experiences, your own passions, your own commitments, and what you're trying to achieve, because this panel today is really going to give you a sense of where the future is going. And see, if you think about every generation has faced its own challenges, its own roadblocks, and its own opportunities. And with that comes the building blocks for the future and where we need to go. What we do together in those moments within each generation to collaboratively innovate, to really be creative at thriving, not just surviving, is where we become successful together. So let me just step back and share a little bit about my journey and then those learnings from that journey so that maybe you can take that forward for the rest of today's conversations and hopefully in the future. I'm looking forward to the chance to connect with all of you during the mentor tables later today. But with this, let me just share with you some of the things that I've learned in my experience to date. The first thing that I want to talk about is really understanding what you value and why. Because if you can understand and really tune into what you value and why, it will remain with you for the rest of your life. Being the child of a teen parent who went through the process of paying my way through college, of paving my way through areas where there were never women in the room. As I got into engineering and technology, I learned that I had to blaze my own trail. And as I've heard from some of my mentors in the past, it's not enough to blaze your trail, because if you don't pay it forward, that trail becomes a dead end. And Jason Vian, who is on my board, my own personal board of directors, shares that with me and those he mentors all the time. And in my experiences, I've learned what I value, what I'm passionate about, has to be incorporated in everything I do. So I value education, I value security, empathy, resilience, optimism, community, and self-sufficiency. And I have to find ways to incorporate these things I value from my experiences into my everyday life. The more information I have, the more I understood, the more I could make the right choices to thrive. And it was a journey for me to move from surviving to thriving. It's a journey that we all have to take in our own time. And so it's really critical to think about what is important to you and how do you incorporate that into everything you do every day. The second area of learning that I've had is understanding deeply who I am and entering into my commitments with my whole self. It shows if I'm checked out, and it shows if I'm 110% present. And that creates a chemical reaction in others who are willing to respond and engage and bring their whole selves to the table as well. For me, giving back has always been important. From volunteering as a young girl, to leading a service community organization in college, to running corporate campaigns, to representing nonprofit boards, and running global giving initiatives has made me a better leader. It's made me a better person when I show up 100% in these roles and who I am as a person, a parent, a leader, a student. It always shows. People feel that energy, and it feeds positive collaboration, and it feeds and fuels collective innovation and allows me to be the change that I want to see. The third area of focus that I found is really helpful as a best practice is remembering that no is never the final answer. Always asking why. Maintaining curiosity and a growth mindset really helps make sure that I'm always learning. And so when I'm told no, I kind of walk around all sides of that no, and I examine it, I push back on it, I break it down until it becomes a yes. And one of my earliest experiences of dealing with the no and breaking it down until it became a yes was becoming the first girl in my state to play soccer, where I had to play on a men's league because there were no women who played soccer at that time. And it was a really empowering opportunity and a scary opportunity all at once. But walking around the no that I was given from the coaches, the no that I was given from the school, and breaking it down gave me the opportunity to turn it into a yes, because the front door is not always the way in. There are windows and back doors and side doors that you can use to get access to what it is you want to achieve. The fourth area is, what can I do and how do I do it? The challenge sometimes is being comfortable and confident enough to take pride in what I bring to the table and who I need to be. And I think we all experience that from time to time. But when you step forward and you ask yourself, am I making myself proud? Am I bringing my best self? Am I the person that I really want to be to show up here? Then that lends itself to building your own confidence, because there can be a very interesting loop that occurs. Times when my confidence waned and others saw that created less confidence in me. And so starting by looking in the mirror and taking a really good stock in who I am, who I want to be, why I'm here, and really understanding the unique capabilities that I bring to the table Writing it down. I put it on the mirror in my bathroom. I put it in front of me on my desk. I put it on my doorways. I remind myself every day who I am, why I'm here, and what do I want to achieve. And sometimes as you're walking that path, you have to sidestep to get to the goal that you're going down, but maintain guardrails that align to what makes you proud to be yourself, and it will always show through in how you show up. The next area is, what do I want to achieve and what do I want to be known for? Let's never forget that success is fleeting and failure is not forever. Each moment does not outweigh the other. I have learned from both, right? And each moment does not necessarily define you. It's the tapestry you weave that drives your lifetime legacy. Learn from it and grow from it. I learn from each failure that every success doesn't necessarily always teach me. And sometimes I learn things from my success that never would have occurred had I not had multiple failures. I fail thousands of times a day, and maybe I succeed once a day. But I take away such important value and growth from both. They pave the way to where I am going tomorrow, but they do not line my horizon. And I don't let either limit me. And you shouldn't either. The next area that I would say that is really important to think about is who you need to be. Be the hero that you have been waiting for. There isn't going to be someone out there that's going to solve all of your problems. And there's no one person that can solve every problem in the world right now. It will take our collective effort. And it will take you showing up as your own hero to solve your own problems. Because as we do that as individuals and as a community, we are able to really drive successful acceleration together to evangelize what it is we're here to do, and to do it in a way that's authentic, that's transparent, and that's connected. And that level of generosity of spirit that you have for yourself, being kind to yourself first, allows you to set the high bars that you set and push through the challenges that you have to achieve them. And then finally, the last point that I'll leave you with is nothing is impossible. Some of our greatest achievements have spanned lifetimes amongst multiple generations. And it happens because people are able to see what doesn't exist. It is really important for you to always stay curious and be innovative and think outside of the box and design the future that you want, not based on where we are today, because that's not how we got here. Open your mind, shift your thinking, ask yourself, is this the only way? And then find 3 more, and then find 100 more until you find the one that will work for you. My mantra has always been, suspend disbelief long enough to let the art of the possible sneak in and let amazing things happen. I ask you to go find your mantra, to really figure out how you can use everything you are and all the assets of empowerment that are out there, whether they be technological, whether they be relationship-based, whether they be environmental. We need to nature and nurture ourselves. So use all of the assets available to you to really build your own superpowers so that you can go out there and make the impossible happen. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Patty. I thank you all for giving me the chance to be part of this amazing session today. This group of individuals is going to share some incredible insight that I hope you can take forward as you define your own futures. Thank you, Patty.
You're so awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Put your thanks, if you would, in the chat. That was so great. All these key takeaways about you being yourself, really finding out what you value, stepping forward and breaking through the no. These are all like key elements to you stepping into the future that you want. And the next thing that's going to happen is actually, I'm going to give a short, power talk on drawing your future. Now, I'm drawing your future with agilities because I have been partnering in the last couple of years with the DeBruce Foundation, who's one of our sponsors today, to help people at all economic levels understand their agilities, which is really what their strengths and their interests are. Those are your agilities, and they have an agility profile, which you can take at agilities.org. It's free, and it tells you what your top 3 agilities are. And that's important because when Kim was talking earlier about what do you value, what you really want to know is, what am I good at? You know, what am I good at right now? And know that your agilities are something that changes over time. Like one of my agilities is innovation. That's just what's true. But another one is serving and caring. I care about my community, and I serve in a lot of different ways. You know, I mean, taking care of my dog sometimes is serving, if you know what I mean. And so my talk is really about draw your future. And I want you to get the template. If Neil sent you that and you were able to print it out, great, use that. If you haven't, get a blank piece of paper, and here's what I want you to do. Up in that cloud where I put draw your future, I want you to put a cloud with your name in it. And then on the left side of your paper, I want you to put current reality. And on the right side of your paper, I want you to put desired new reality. And in the center, 3 bold steps. Now, just do that right now, and that'll be our drawing warm-up. Most of you, you know, you're used to drawing or sketchnoting your notes from school, right? And so this is important. When you draw and you use drawing, you actually activate all parts of your brain. So it makes you think better about ideas. And so whenever you feel like you don't understand something, if you draw a little picture for yourself to understand it, you're going to get some connection to it, and it will imprint itself on your memory. And so, you know, when you think about what we've been through in 2020, I mean, how many of you had these big goals for what was going to happen in 2020? Like maybe you were going to get an internship, or maybe you were just starting college, or maybe you wanted to make sure you got good grades, right, in high school, or you were just going into high school. Right? So these are, and so you set some goals. Maybe you want to make some new friends. You want to make some connections. You want to understand robotics. You want to move into doing and trying, testing different things. And then COVID hits. You know, it's just like this wind of change that comes in, and everything comes to a halt. Well, what's amazing about it is your generation is really good with technology. So for you to pivot to being online was probably much easier than some of your professors. They weren't sure how to do it. Or if you were in a place where your bandwidth wasn't that great, you know, then you're stuck. You can't really get online, and it's really difficult. So we see the disparity in what we know, what we don't know, all of that during this time. And one of the things that I've found is that 9 out of 10 people, when it comes to making a change like that, to going virtual, they can't do it. It's hard for them to do. They resist it. They put it off. But I want to show you something that will help you be the 1 in 10 anytime you want to make a change in your life. Because if you draw a picture of something that you desire, and it's a future you, and you attach yourself to it by looking at that picture, taking actions on that picture, you increase your chances of success by 46%. 46%. Yeah. If you draw a bad picture and you slap it on the dashboard of your car, right? Or you put it on your mirror and you look at it every day and do small things, you're going to achieve success faster than any of your classmates. And so this is important to remember. No matter what you're doing, if you draw the future into a picture, it will help you. And I want to show you how to do that process, because I learned it a long time ago. I was an actor. I drew a picture and ended up on Broadway. Now, that would have never happened to me if I hadn't really focused my attention, my energy, and that picture. And it happened so much faster than I ever imagined it would. And I have given a TED Talk called Draw Your Future. And it went viral on some bootleg channel, you know, best of 2015. 6 million people saw it. And of the 42,000 that put comments in there, most of the comments said, my drawing skills suck. But a lot of them said, I can do this. This was fantastic. Here's my map. This is my picture of what I did. So let's draw that picture for you. And so let's look at, and this is how it goes. Simple, easy. On the left side of the picture, I want you to draw and write in words and pictures what it's like to be you right now. And I want you to think about, if you had an agility, what do you think you're good at? So what's going well first? Like maybe you are, you're in a virtual environment, and actually for some people, you like the virtual environment. So you might write virtual environment, you might draw a picture of you, with like a little heart emoji in there, right? And you might think about, what else is going well? You feel like you are able to focus on the things that you love, and and there might be some downsides too to that. Like maybe you don't get to see your friends as much. And so put what's going well and what's challenging. And I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to draw and write. Okay, what's going well and what's challenging. And I'm just writing some things, but you write on your own first. And then as soon as you start to I'll ask you in a few seconds to put stuff in the chat. Okay, cool. Now, some people, if you would, just put some things that are going well for you in the chat, and then I'll look at them. And also I asked Neil if he would read out a few to me. So just put in there a few things that are going well for you. All right, great. Fantastic. What else? Let's see. Networking. Thank you. What else? Love and romance. I love it. Professional relationships. Okay, cool. Let's see what else. Health, starting a new job, discovering new hobbies, learning.
Losing COVID pounds.
Say a little louder, Neil. Thank you.
Losing COVID pounds, starting a new job, eating well.
Okay, cool.
My job and team, building great professional relationships, collaborating.
Okay, cool. All right. That's fantastic. Now we know a few things that are going well. So now let's get up here a couple of things that have been challenging for you. And I appreciate in advance your transparency about saying what's real, because it's really hard. This time has been hard in some way. So what's been difficult for you?
Procrastination.
Thank you.
Not seeing grandparents. Less personal connection over Zoom, practicing sports, relationships, not traveling a lot.
Thank you. Okay, cool. What anything else in there, Neil?
Missing friends,
Miss friends,
appreciation, not hugging.
Yeah, no physical contacts. So weird, isn't it? All you get is your family, physical contact.
yeah.
Not exactly the same. School, not going well, school. I think it's sometimes hard, especially if it's hard to be online all the time like that. And not all your teachers are all that great at the online space, which is unfortunate. No travel,
Yeah.
masking, right. Okay, cool. All right. So now we know where we are. What's going well, you see I put it in blue, and what's challenging. And so now what we want to do is, first I want you to stand up right now. I want you to stand up no matter what's happening in your environment. Everybody around you is going to think this is really weird in your home, wherever you are. Stand up, and I want you to put your right elbow on your left knee like this. I just want you to do like a little brain gym. Because what happens when you put stuff up here, that's the current state, the current reality, all your brain focuses on is what's not going well. So we're shifting it from that. Okay, so take a deep breath in, let it out. I saw somebody was meditating in there. Good job. Okay, now sit down, and now let's imagine it's a year from today in the best possible scenario. In the best possible case, What are you experiencing? What's going well for you? What do you feel? Start with what you feel, because in fact, your future you attaches to the feeling first. So put it on the right side, some things that you feel. So what are you feeling? So maybe you feel in the future state, a year from today, best case scenario. So we'll imagine that it's January 30th, 2022. You made it through this year. So here's what we got. Peace. Go ahead, Neil. Read it out.
Joy, happiness, good energy, confident. I love that word, confident.
Thank you.
Closer to the future, meeting new people, success, accomplished.
Fantastic. Okay, now let's get some specifics in there. So you feel accomplished. In what way? Where were you accomplished? What happened? What are you doing? Are you in some kind of a job, a role, an internship? What's going on? Tell me. That you, in the best case scenario, don't let your critic get in there. What do you see, Neil?
Oh, are you talking about me? Okay.
I'm talking about everybody that's
Oh,
put something in. They got an internship.
Sure.
Yes.
Learning
Okay.
new information, COVID-free. Whoever said that, I like that. COVID-free. Global revenue and global impact. Receiving funding for my business.
Thank you. What else? What else is in there, Neil?
Debt-free.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. So when somebody says to you, don't go near the pool, what do you remember? Neil, what do you remember when somebody says to you, don't go near the pool?
I want to go to
Honestly.
the pool.
You go, yeah, they got a pool. I'm going to the pool. And that's what
Yeah.
your brain is like. So that's what you do in your head. You're like, there's a pool there. So same thing when you say no COVID, what we want instead is health. We want full health and vaccination. Everyone's vaccinated, right? Or we want, in this case, instead of no stress, we want total, freedom. Or we might want abundance instead of no debt, right? So I'm going to put up here that, and I always put, people want money. This is one of the things, but abundance means we get more than money, because really, in the end, they did these studies about people in their work environment and found that people are more likely to be happy when it's not about the money, it's about the culture, right? Okay, so what else? Abundance, peace, happiness, learning, anything else?
Teaching orphan kids, a person said.
Okay.
Scaling their business.
Thank you. Okay, cool. All right, now, so I want you to choose one thing on the right side of your map that you really, really, really want, something that is so important to you. Like it might be the scaling of your business. It might be you learning better. It might be that internship you talked about. And I want you to highlight it in some way, because we have a ton of stuff on the right side. You have to call it out for your brain, because it can really only focus on a few things at a time. So attach yourself to that one thing that you want, that confidence, and highlight it in some way with your pen. And when you are done with me and you're into your regular day, I want you to choose one of those things and daydream it as if it's happening right now. Because your brain doesn't understand past, present, and future. It thinks you are this now. It believes that you are this, and the only interference is your confidence, is your belief that you can do it. And so by building your focus on that, you will build your confidence. And the other thing you do to build your confidence is that you take big risks. Not little tiny risks like rearrange your filing cabinet or clean your room. Nope, that's not it. You got to really take some bold steps. And this is the way we get them. You look at the left side of your picture that you've written and drawn on. You look at the right side of your picture that you've written and drawn on, then you close your eyes for a second. And you close your eyes and ask your best self, your biggest self, the part that understands what you value and knows you're worth it. Ask that part of you, what are the 3 boldest things I could do? 3 big, bold things, not just little tiny things. big, bold. Don't be scared by that, though. Think of something really fun, like you would call up Bill Gates and you'd say, hey, dude, I need a job. Or you would get into line with somebody and you would introduce yourself to them online in some kind of weird experience. You would talk to, in this networking experience we're going to go into, you could ask for somebody for a job or talk about an internship that you really need, okay? So I want you to think about what would be the bold steps. And in my world, these bold steps look like this. This one's bold. This one's tactical. So it might be bold, but it's kind of tactical. Like maybe you need to get your resume together, right? Or you need to make sure your social media profile is really geared up for you to get a job or internship. And the third thing is a mindset shift, some way in which you have to shift the way you're thinking. So for example, if over here you're thinking, I'm not confident, I can't do that, I don't know enough, I don't know anything about STEM, how could I ever get a job in STEM? I'm the only woman there. Remember Kim's story from the beginning. You got to think about what is it that will build that confidence for you, right? Okay, so tell me, what is the bold step? Give me a bold step, put it in the chat if you would. One bold step. Tell me one bold step that you would have.
Educate everyone.
Okay, fantastic. What else, Neil? Call them out to me.
We are waiting in the chat, but I think personally a bold step I could take is being fearless. Would that be?
I love it. That's a mindset shift. I love it. Being fearless. That's fantastic. Well, and also too, you have had some experience being fearless. So being fearless in getting a job is really important. Be courageous. Yes. Okay. What else? Somebody else give me ask for help.
Oh.
This is fantastic. Be innovative. Ask for big. Carolyn, I love it. I'm going to put ask because I think asking is really hard for us sometimes. Asking for help, asking for something that you think you deserve. Believe I deserve it. Yes, thank you. So believing you deserve this new reality is a big part of the battle. All right, so now you've got these 3 bold steps. And I want you to just think like, if I could take one little tiny action today on that bold step, what would it be? What could I do to educate others today? What could I do to ask today? You're about to go into a breakout. Well, first you're going to see an awesome panel, but after you get inspired by them, we're going to do this breakout in mentoring, right? So in that mentorship model, I want you to see if you can't take action on one of these things to get yourself into this future you. And so this is, write that down, what the one thing is that you will do today before the end of the day. And the way to use the map is, now we did a really down and dirty of this, right? And so what I want you to do is to do this process, just watch that Draw Your Future TED Talk of mine if you want to remember what happened. Or just remember, take that map of yours, color it in, which is what I'm going to do right now. When the panel's talking, I'm going to color in my picture. I'm going to add some more detail. Then I'm going to put that picture somewhere I can see it all the time, those things. And every week, I'm going to look at those bold steps and I'm going to put some action plan together for it. And I'm going to take action every day. And then you're going to become that 1 in 10 that makes change possible. You can attach yourself to a future you. And the more courageous things you do, the more courage you build. You know, courage builds positive outcomes. So do this. Confidence is the byproduct of prior performance. Byproduct of prior performance. So this is courageous for you to draw it all. And so I'm just gonna now just have you just take a moment to, you'll be impressed, Karen Fascio, with your drawing skills. You're gonna be impressed, honestly, with how much change you can create just using this simple picture. Okay. That's the end of me. And since I'm the MC right here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to now introduce Neil Vidulapalli, who you already probably know who he is. He's just one of the most amazing youth. Every single time I've ever seen him at Women in Cloud, he's such a great entrepreneur. He's selling something, he's on stage, he's helping out. You know, he's the ultimate volunteer. So let me bring to the stage Neil, bring him up with a big round of applause, and then I'll see you in a little bit at the mentorship table.
Sorry, my mic was off. That was on me. Okay, I would like to bring up Jackie O'Hara, Avery Elder, and Emma Cullen to be on the stage. And I'd also like to thank the MC, Patty, and I'd also like to, before we start on the panel, I'd like to acknowledge Kim and Patty for doing an amazing speech. So from Kim, I learned that no isn't an answer and we can turn it into a yes, and that nothing's impossible. From Patty, I learned that if you want to draw your future, you need to educate others, ask, and be fearless. So my name is Neil Vetalopoli. I am the lead organizer for a youth foundation called Creative Children for Charity. 3C is a youth foundation run by youth for youth. And the mission is to inspire 1 million kids and teens to donate their time and talent for a social cause. To date, 3C has donated over 11,000 volunteer hours, worked with over 6,500 youth, and supported 17 nonprofits in the community. 3C creates 3 types of opportunities for kids. The first one is technology programs such as STEAM 3D, which allows kids to develop new skills in 3D printing. The second is entrepreneurship events, such as the Seattle Acton Children's Business Fair, to help empower youth to become entrepreneurs. And the last is service projects that bring youth together to support nonprofits. Our flagship service project is Creative Smiles, and it's a service project dedicated to make more smiles in our community by giving flower bouquets and gift boxes filled with sweet treats and positive notes. So you might be asking, why are we here today? We are having a focused conversation with our amazing panel on what being prepared means, how to motivate yourself in any situation, and why having access to opportunities is important to achieve anything you want to do. So before I start with our panel, I'd like to ask the audience, if you had one word to describe 2020, what would it be? I'd like to see the chat rolling in. And panelists, if you'd like to add on to what you would describe 2020 in one word, you guys can totally do that. Okay. We have lonely, challenging, interesting, pivotal. 2020 was a mess, unprecedented, amazing, chaos, depressing, unrepeatable, unexpected, exhausted. This is a very strong words that I think we all can relate to. So I'd like to introduce the speakers, and we'll start with Avery. What dream do you want to make a reality?
I'm Avery Elder, and I just want to say thank you so much for having me on this panel. And so something that I think is like one of my main dreams right now. So I was really fortunate to grow up in a house where both of my parents were kind of in the business world. So I was exposed to all of that, and I found my passions kind of early in life. And I'm really thankful for that. And I think one of kind of my biggest dreams right now is to help other people find those things, especially like youth, because we have so much going for us right now, and the world is at our fingertips, especially with everything being online and how connected we all can be. And so I guess my dream would be to create access for other people my age, especially girls.
I really liked what you said about how to empower girls. And Emma, what would you, what dream would you like to make a reality?
Well, right now I'm a senior in high school, so I think in a year I'd love to be in college and just kind of figuring out what's my next step after college. And I really love business, and I love kind of the whole world of of marketing. And so I think my big dream for going big is to eventually, run a company. I think that'd be so cool, but obviously I've got to take some steps to get there, but hopefully we can get there.
Honestly, seeing you run a company, that it would be amazing. It'd be cool because then I know a CEO. So, I mean, that's always really cool. So Jackie, what dream would you like to make a reality?
biggest dreams is to improve the retention rates of women in STEM, to improve the hiring practices of, companies in hiring women in STEM, and to generally improve the equity and equality that we're seeing in the STEM fields right now.
I think as we become like society that's more like advanced, we need to be more inclusive. And I really believe that if we have practices that make people equal, it'll be amazing. And yes, and STEM is the future, so it'll be great if everyone is involved. So I'd like to start off with Jackie. And Jackie, I've heard that you inspired many teens since you co-founded an academic pipeline at Berkeley to help students get access to interesting classes during the summer taught by college students. What do you prepare yourself, and how do you keep yourself motivated in the current climate, and how do you get motivated?
Well, I think like many others, the project started out with a massive failure. It started out with online school, with, going home from college, no longer getting to go on a study abroad experience. And all of a sudden, everything I had worked for all of my projects I was doing, even all my volunteer work at the hospitals was all of a sudden just gone. And I didn't know what to do. And I was, in this place where, do I wait? Do I wait for someone else to fix this problem? Do I wait until this pandemic is gone? And I didn't want to wait. I refuse. And I hope, the one thing we get out of this panel is, we cannot wait for things to pass. We have to actively engage and find new avenues to continue to progress and work towards what we want to see in the world. And one of the things that I noticed was super significant about the pandemic when it first started in March was many public schools and many schools in general were struggling to find ways to equitably transition to a safe learning environment. And, especially public schools that may not have as many summer programs were having trouble finding ways to keep students engaged during the summertime, because summertime is one of the greatest periods of learning loss in all students, from elementary school up through college. And that's because they're not actively learning or using their brains. And this is actually exaggerated, especially in the pandemic when you can't see friends and, grow those communications and other relationship skills. That you can't go to museums or other summer programs like camps and things like that to help build, your mind throughout the entire summer. And so we didn't want students to have a significant deficit in their learning, because at the time we really did believe that this pandemic would be kind of over in the summer or by the end of the summer. And, we wanted to help prepare students so that they weren't losing this valuable time that, from this mindset of like, let's wait, we'll pause our life for the few months. And that's not the right mentality. And I think that mentality is causing a huge issue, right? We don't have to pause our lives. We just have to find new ways to live them. And so what we did was we found college students from all across the country and in some cases the world, and we built different class modules for students to opt in throughout the summer, whether that's yoga and meditation, whether that is one of my classes on molecular cell biology. And some of our friends did math and like continuing mentorship panels and things like that. And so we created an atmosphere where students who wanted to learn and needed the avenue to do so, we gave that to them for one summer. And it was a great success. The students got to talk with people from all over the country. A big portion of them were from the West Coast, but it was exciting. And I was so happy I got to do it that summer. And we are in discussions on whether we want to do it again, depending on the current climate and the need for it. But I was really glad I got to do it, and it found, its place in a lot of people's hearts. And, it really showed people that there's a lot we still can do. And so that is my current project right now. But yes, thank you.
I loved hearing like we can still do a lot. And I loved hearing that even though we're in this pandemic, it was a success to teach kids like new skills. And as a student, when summer comes around, I throw my computer somewhere and just hang out with friends, don't care about schoolwork. And I really love to hear that you still empowered students to be their best and help them like learn new skills, even though we're so isolated and lonely. And this like leads me into Avery. Nowadays, being motivated is hard since we miss our friends and life isn't normal at all. As a high school student, how do you keep yourself motivated and how do you go about doing that?
So I'm a junior in high school, which is kind of inevitably your hardest year. And it has been, especially going through it full remote, online, with none of that kind of in-person stuff that really helps you get through the school aspect of school, right? And so something I kind of learned about myself that I didn't really know before is that I'm actually a lot more organized being at home and being online, which I was not expecting for myself. And I don't really mind the way that school has been for me. I like that I have breaks in the middle of the day. I can go shower in between classes. I can run out to Starbucks, but I feel like I'm able to kind of manage myself better because I'm not really wasting time the way I used to be wasting time. And I think that's something that's kept me motivated because so many of my friends and the people around me are so unmotivated, and they're talking about how like they have no drive anymore. They miss all the stuff that used to happen during the school year, right? But as Jackie was saying, like we can't wait for those things to come back. Like we have to find new ways to fill our time now and new things to do. And so I think that's something that I've really been thinking about instead of just right now as my future. And I know that getting through school, getting the grades I want, doing the extracurriculars I want to do that are helping me is just bringing me one step closer to where I want to be in the future, especially college is kind of like the main thing on my mind right now. And so I think I've basically been staying super motivated because I know this is just one more step to get me to where I want to be.
I loved how hearing like this is just one more step to being where you want to be, and that's what keeps you motivated. And like where I live, like school also has like breaks in between, and personally that is like really helpful because I could just sit around, don't have to worry about school for like 5 minutes instead of like rushing to the next class, because even though it's like across the school. So Emma, you're a leader in your area. How do you keep yourself motivated, and how do you keep others motivated to keep doing what they want to do?
Well, it's definitely a lot different from when we were in person. And I think this time has really given people perspective on who are really strong leaders, because you need a lot of self-motivation during this time. I know I find myself, especially in school, it's a perfect example. I'm like, oh, well, I only have this assignment to do. I can do it later. But I think it really is going to benefit you just to like attack it while you're at it. And that's, I think, is one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself is while it's on your mind, just to do it, because it's really hard to channel going from place to place in your house for different things, like, oh, now my room is school. Well, I also sleep there. So it's really hard to kind of find those breaks in your day. So you constantly feel like you're running on and you keep going. And that's kind of what links to like Zoom fatigue. So I think it's like trying to just do what you want to get done in one place. I think it's so important to do because then you can give yourself a break and recharge. And especially now with being at home all the time, I think recharging is a huge misconception. Well, you're like, well, I'm just at home, I'm in my sweatpants half the time. I'm just, it's a lazy day. But when in reality, you look at the checklist and all this stuff you've done, I think recharging is huge key to be able to get yourself to get things done and really figure out what is the most way that you're going to be productive. And just collaborating with people, even though we're on a platform all day in class and you're trying to collaborate with other people, there's so many times when you go into like a breakout room and you're in a group and everybody has their cameras off and their mutes off. But I think just being that first person to start the conversation, it always ends up in a good situation, because once you get once you feel comfortable and you start talking, other people will join in. And I think that's really what helps build other leaders too in an environment like this.
I love the slogan, attack it while you have it, because for me, like, I'll see this assignment, I just want to laze around, and it's due in 2 weeks. Why should I do it now? And like recharging is like important thing to get things done, because you can't, during this time, you might feel like you can't do this, you can't do that, because you're doing the same thing over and over. And I think recharging is really important, so we can feel like we can do something. So I'm going to move on to an open discussion, and the question is going to be, preparation is key to being ready for any task someone wants to do, and it can help someone have an edge in that task. When was the last time you felt stuck, and what did you do to prepare yourself so you can get out of that situation?
Happy to take this one first, at least. Preparation is always key. I think, that's well known. But how we do that is something that is different with all people. And if you can do it well is what sets you apart, right? And so the biggest thing that we can do is put our goals on paper, to put things down, to write them out, because the second you do that, you are now accountable to yourself and to your own goals. When you see an empty check mark there, you will see that every day, right? It's in your calendar, it's in your plans. I have like my own planner that I love checking, because there is nothing more gratifying than being able to check something off and say, I did something today, I did something this week. And on top of that, right, it brings out this accountability in us that we can start putting goals forward. We can start putting small, measurable, accomplishable goals. And that, I think, is another thing people don't realize in preparation. People think, I have a big goal. I have a goal to, make all women in STEM, have a place in the, have a job, right? And that is a massive goal. And how do we get there? Because when we have these big goals, we feel like we can't reach them. And so what we do is we make measurable steps towards that goal, because that is how we get through it and push through and be persistent. When we make two big goals, massive goals, we don't feel like we can take chunks out of that goal. It becomes daunting and hard. So we have to break things down sometimes. And that is probably one of the best things I've learned so far is, so for example, just to bring this, to a more understandable place, when there's a large assignment you have to do, there's several things you have to do before papers there, right? You have to do the research. So setting time up to read 5 research articles or 5 papers or other things. Setting up the time to meet with a professor or a teacher to learn more about the project, to discuss your ideas, to be collaborative with your peers. Having the time to write out a paragraph once a day, twice a day, however long your time has, right? Finding these little ways to make progress towards your goal is so, so important.
I think, sorry.
I was just going to go on what Jackie said. I really love the idea, because I think you really can't get anything done if you just, if you have this idea in your head, like, oh, maybe I'll do this. But if you write it down, like, your goals of accomplishment are so much better. And you also just feel so much better about yourself, because it's something that you wrote down. It's something that you were able to check off. And then you have a better self-confidence going in. And also, if something gets thrown in or some things get changed, especially like COVID, when things like that happen, but you already have a plan, you're able to react a lot faster and a lot more organized. And so you're just like, the success is endless, and you can just do what you really enjoy and just get that's like self-love to yourself.
Like, I start all of my days by writing down like what I know I need to do. And though that might change from day to day based on school and stuff after school and assignments, I'm starting a routine that I'm kind of building for myself. And I think something that's kind of kept me grounded through everything that's happened is having a routine of what I know I'm doing, because that's one form of control I can have in my life when there's so many other areas we're not having control over right now. And so I think it's really important to kind of set aside, like, what do I need to get done today, and know what you're going to do, because you're managing your time well. And then if you get everything done, I mean, it feels so good when you get everything done, but then also you're going to have that free time later to do other things that maybe like yoga, meditation. Like, I've been recharging my brain through meditation a lot whenever I find little time between classes, or I set aside time because I've already set up my day. And it's so nice because it's just like a little refresh for your brain, and you can just keep going after.
I loved hearing from Jackie, like, if you break it down, you can achieve something. And like, I had an essay like a while ago, and it was like a big essay. I'm like, how am I supposed to achieve this? Like, do this? Breaking it down is like really helpful because it makes it more manageable, and like you can make measurable steps to a goal, which the goal was in the essay. It also makes you more accountable. Like, if I have like a checklist and you can check it off, and it makes you like feel better too. Even though like Avery said, like, even though everything's constantly changing, a routine is still like something that is you can always like have control over. And I think that's like really, really, really helpful, because everything feels like you don't have control over it, because some things might change here, some things might change there. And yeah, so I'm going to move on to the last question of the panel. So in this world, having access to opportunities is key to cultivate our skills so we can contribute to society. What does access mean to you, and how do you go creating access for you and others?
Start us off if you want, or Emma, you can go. But
Go for
so
it.
I was kind of I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like really, what does access mean to me? It's something that Women in Cloud especially is talking a lot, creating access. And I kind of saw it, at least in my life, in two different ways: access that you build yourself and you initiate yourself, and access that you get through other people. And so personally, I have been given access, luckily, through my mother, who's actually here today watching. So hi, Mom. But so like, I've been given access through her, which I'm so grateful for. And I've built a lot of my own network because of the people that I was able to meet through her. And I'm taking that and I'm giving access to people who have no idea, like, anything about the kind of IT business world. So I'm a part of a Women in STEM group in my area, and I'm a leader of outreach for the group. And so basically, I'm in charge of setting up events and meetings with these women who come and talk and tell us about their lives as a woman in STEM and their jobs and how they got there. And so we had an event the other day, and I had one lady from Microsoft come, and then this other lady who's a dental hygienist. Obviously completely different ends of the STEM spectrum, but it was just so nice to hear about all the different ways and paths they took in life, and they ended up being in places that they love, and it's so inspiring. And then some of my friends who are in the group were talking to me after, and they were like, Avery, it was so great to like hear from these people. Like, I realized things that I've never realized before, and like I've learned about things I had no exposure to. And so I think taking the access that you've been given and giving it to other people, like, is so important. And that's how we're kind of building our own networks at the same time.
I think building a strong network is so important. And I really like what you had. There's two different types of access. And like, when I talk to my parents, they're like, every single job that they have had is from networking with other friends. Friend was like, hey, there's a job opening, you should apply. And so it's just shows you how important it is to just reach out and meet people. Even if you have no idea who they are, you can really get a great base and then if you know them, then they know someone else, and the chain just keeps going on and on. So it can really open up a ton of doors. I think allow you to just meet so many different people. And I know that's what I love. I love to talk. I love to listen to people. And so I think it's super cool when you just get to meet so many different types of people that come from so many different types of background, because it really allows you to know a lot of your different community. And I think it's really important just to know different types of people so you can get a different perspective on things. You know, oh, I didn't really think of this, or oh, I didn't really think of that, but it all kind of ties together as one. So I love Access, and I love just networking and knowing a lot of people, because you're given so many opportunities and so many different sides of things.
Exactly what they said. When I hear access, you know, there are two types of access. There is access to networking and community, and then there's also access to the fundamentals that make you successful, right? Do you have internet right now? Is it strong and reliable? I know even in this panel, there was someone who had internet connectivity issues, right? It's access to resources and, you know, education that has the same access to. It's access to public institutions that we have that haven't been designed for everyone, not women and not people of color and other underrepresented groups and populations in this country. And so we, as people who do have access to a lot of these things, have, you know, a responsibility to continuously make note and make revisions to problematic issues with this inequity of access. And on the other side, right, with our networking, we are 6 people away from meeting anyone else in the world. That's how we found it to be true through all of these different researches, is if you connections 6 people deep, you could probably find just about anyone. This world that we're in, this, you know, virtual world, is not ending anytime soon. We are just finding ways to integrate the two, right? And so how we use these things, how we use the power of connectivity and access that we have right now is so, so vital to what future we're going to be able to build. And that of how we build our networks, how we reach out to people, even if we don't necessarily feel like maybe we're worthy of that connection, right? You know, how do you press a button and say, like, please connect with me, I am worth connecting to? And then also finding mentors. Access to mentors, I think, for young people is the most fundamental key to success. And there's 2 types of mentors. There's mentors in the roles you want, that you have to look up to, that you have to work your butt off to, you know, show them that you are worth the effort that they're going to put in. And then there's the mentors that, you know, are going to support you, that are going to empower you, that are going to inspire you and build you up and develop your skills and teach you new skills. And so it is so fundamentally important that young people today recognize the different types of mentorship available and utilize those and find them, actively find them, because mentors aren't going to fall in your lap, unfortunately. Some will. And then, you know, most importantly, and somewhat what Kim Smith said is, you know, you can be a trailblazer, but not making that path walkable by other people is a complete waste of your time. We have to build ladders. We have to add rings to ladders to help other people follow our tracks. We have to inspire other people and help them along the way, because if we don't pass it along, it ends with us. And that is so fundamental to creating access, is by leaving a walkable path, building the bridges for other people to come by.
Loved how you said, like, leaving a walkable path and building bridges to let people, like, get to where they want to be. Like, access to people who have, like, giving access to people who have no ideas, like, what to do is really important, because they get to learn, they get to thrive, because in this world, things are always changing, and having access to different things will honestly help people have different perspectives. And I think it's really important to have access to people, have mentors, and like you said, Jackie, like fundamentals is key because like we all have like the fundamentals, like a computer, Wi-Fi, and yeah, I really do. And yeah, like Rachel said, like if we don't pass it around, it just stops with us. Uh, and so I like to open up the Q&A section of the that people have been asking. So Karen has asked, like, what is one thing someone did for you that had made a difference for all of you?
One of the things that comes to mind is something small. And I think that's important to address too, because there's people that have moved their whole lives for me, and that is so valuable. But not everyone has, the opportunity to do that for someone else. But I want to emphasize how things can be, because even opening a door for someone, has that impact and has that. And so one of the things that, touched me, especially this year, was, someone coming up to me and saying, how are you doing? How can I help you get to where you're going? I can't do a lot, but I will help you, and I will walk with you, and I will be there with you, and that sentiment, right, is so, so powerful. Feeling like you have supporters, you have fans, you have people that are wishing you well and helping you through. And even when, we aren't seeing each other, that they're still thinking about you in the back of their minds, reminding you that they believe in you and that they support you and want to see you do well. That is so, so valuable to people, especially young people who don't always get that. Maybe not from, their families, or maybe they're penetrating a new field that they don't have a lot of knowledge or access in. Knowing that they're getting those kudos, getting that support and that reassurance is so, so, so truly valuable. And it can truly push you in that right direction and keep you going when you don't feel like you should be in that direction anymore. And that, this year, especially when things were going crazy and I was trying to, work with getting majors declared and things like that. Do I still want to be in STEM? Those are things that run through women's minds every day, because it is not easy. There is not a very high retention of women in STEM, not in college, not in, the tech industry or in the fields. And having people be, you're so gifted in STEM. You are powerful. You are an inspiration, and you need to stick with it. If it's not for you, it's for all the other people that are looking up to you right now. And having that, knowing that you are, working hard to be that person for others is so, so important.
Totally believe just like have someone giving you, like, opening a door is so important, because it gives you like different, I don't know how to say it, but it gives you access to a different opportunity, which it can help you thrive, and it can help you thrive, and also can help you get knowledge and get experience to make sure the next time you do something, you're truly amazing at that thing. With that, I'd like to invite Patty on the stage, and she'll talk with you guys.
Hi, you guys. I'm coming on there, my camera. I just want to ask you this one question, because you've done such a great job moderating these questions and everything, but I want to hear from you too, Neil, on this one. So for all of you, really, like, just such an amazing panel. But one of the questions in the chat was, would you finish this sentence? 10 years from now, the world I would like to see is, and then fill in that blank. Each of you, 10 years from now, the world I would like to see is this. And just a lightning round for each of you to just briefly answer that. What would you like to see? What do you think, Avery?
10 years from now, the world I would like to see is accepting of everyone. I think with everything that we've been going through the past few months, that's something really big, especially with our generation, how accepting we are. I think that's really important. And in 10 years, who knows the impact we're going to have. So I guess that's my lightning.
Fantastic. Thank you. How about you, Emma? 10 years from now, the world you would like to see.
The first thing that I thought of was the word thriving. I want to see, I think it's so important that something that my parents always told me is when you think of a career, it should be something you're passionate about. And if you think everyone in the world starts a career that they're passionate about, the world will thrive because everybody will be at the top of what they're doing. And I think it will just become a world where people are passionate about what they want to do. And I think it will really allow people to just thrive and come out and be their best self.
Thank you. How about you, Jackie?
Tough one. I think I would say that in 10 years from now, I want to see a world where people have the access and opportunity and resources to do what makes them and what sets their soul on fire, whether that is STEM, whether that is creativity and arts or other things. It's opportunities in front of them and the removal of those barriers that prevents them from truly doing what they want to do.
Thank you. And Neil, wrap it up with just your comment on what it would be 10 years from now, the world you want to live in.
What I would like to see in the next 10 years is reduced inequality so people can be equal and have access to all those opportunities that they want to achieve and what they really, and I want people to do what they want to do instead of just following what other people want them to do.
Yes, agreed. I love it. That's fantastic. Well, everybody, let's give them a round of applause because you were fantastic in this panel. Thank you so much for all of your enthusiasm and love. And then let's turn it over to Chai. She's going to introduce the mentoring piece. So thank you so much, Neil, for such an awesome job of just facilitating that dialogue. It was really incredible. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was fantastic. I would say this was one of my favorite panel. Do you all agree? Wasn't that a favorite panel of the WIC Summit? First is all of you have inspired me that we have to create access and opportunities and making sure that there's no inequalities. Going to the mentoring session, all the adults in the room, are you excited to mentor the young folks here? Yes? Fantastic. So here's what will happen. I'm going to ask Riza to play the video so you understand how the REMA works first. The second thing which I want to do is talk through how the mentoring will look like. All the adults were given was the prompts. If the kids are between 13 to 15, you are facilitating a conversation on who they are, what are they motivated, and how they need to, work on their dreams, and what are the takeaways from the sessions that they're going to take away and the skills they want to learn. If the kids are between 6 and 20, if they are at your table, same thing, talk about who they are, what's motivating them, and what are they dreaming about that you can help them make it a reality, and what are the takeaways for them and the kind of internship opportunities they're looking for that you can get it closer. So in this mentoring session, the students are going to move from floor 1 to floor 1, 2, and 3. And the adults, please go and take your tables because you've been assigned a table on a specific floor. So you have to click on the elevator. If you're on the, you have to take the elevator to go to the floor number 2, take your seat, and the kids will jump from one table to another. And if you're on floor number 3, please go on to the floor number 3 and check out. And all the youth have been given who you are, what you can help them with, so they actually know that some of you are entrepreneurs, you're executives in the company, you are leading a community, so you can give them, they know what they are looking for. So are you all ready to get to the mentoring piece of it? Ready? Okay, so let's play the video so you have everybody clear instruction, and then I'll have a quick Q&A so there's no confusion, because we had a lot of confusion on the mentoring sessions the last 2 days. We want to make sure it's easier. Okay, go ahead, Riza, play the.
And we're all here. So I will see you in the lounge. Thanks.
Is that clear for everyone how to use the technology? Yes? Perfect. Raisa, can we share the screen of the people who will be there at the tables? So we have from Kristen Miller to Dan Langell. These are the people who are all there. We have few more. We have Karen Fazio. We have Dina Grimstead. We have Katina, Vinay, Ram. We have Tad. We have Ruth. We have Trish. We have Akila. They're all in the room. So please go and visit them. So we are going to take you to the lounge in a virtual limousine, have fun, and 5 minutes before we'll come back, get your feedback, and then next time will be much more awesome. But let's give a big round of applause to Avery, Jackie, Neil, and Emma for doing a fantastic panel. You inspire all of us. Thank you.